Once there was a red beetle who strolled along the leafy floor of a great forest. He was not in a rush to get anywhere fast, nor was he of the mind to get anywhere specific at all. He simply liked to walk. "Oh, what wondrous things could happen when one is out for a stroll," thought Beetle as he trotted along. The birds chirped ahead, the sun's rays pierced the canopy, and the leaves seemed to part like the Red Sea for Beetle. "Oh, what wondrous things are happening around me," hummed Beetle, as he marveled at the beautiful simplicity of such a day as today. The path winded and curved around a large oak tree, quite a trek for such a small creature as Beetle. The sun, as beautiful as it was, enveloped poor little Beetle in a blanket of warmth, which forced him to stop halfway through his journey around the great oak. An owl, who previously sat relaxing on one of the high-up branches of the oak tree, noticed little Beetle panting and huffing with fatigue. "What have we here?" thought Owl as he swooped down to investigate further. Owl landed next to Beetle, who was too focused on his own breathing to take much notice to the giant shadow having been cast over him. "So, little Beetle, what troubles you?" asked Owl inquisitively. "Oh, hello, Mr. Owl. This ginormous oak tree is proving quite the adventure for me. I wish something could ease the burden of such a perilous task," replied Beetle, much out of breath. Owl cared not to help Beetle with such a frivolous task as journeying around a mere tree, for the task seemed so simple to a creature such as Owl, with his wings and his larger frame. However, Owl became intrigued with Beetle's earnestness with wishing for something. For you see, Owl was not a regular owl, but a magic owl who enjoyed putting his hubris to good use with magical tests and challenges for lesser critters to endeavor in. Complete such endeavors, and Owl would begrudgingly reward them. Fail the challenge, and, well, Owl much preferred that. "Is there anything else you could wish for, my little friend?" asked Owl, hoping to jostle an intriguing answer out of Beetle. "Well," said Beetle, "now that you mention it, I do not think the other beetles see me as all that interesting. I wish to be interesting and unique from the very beginning. Then, if they like who I am later too, that will be nice. But all the beetles go off in their pairs and fall ever so in love. All but me." "Oh, what fun," thought Owl. "The game is afoot. I am a magical bird, little Beetle. I can make you the most unique, beautiful insect in all the forest if I deem it so. But first, you will have to compete to see if you deserve to be worthy of my merits being bestowed upon you." Owl became quite excited. "I will do anything. I want to be quite beautiful so that others can enjoy looking at me as much as I enjoy looking at them. Oh, if the sun could just see me an ounce the way I see her," replied Beetle, his little heart quite literally jumping with joy. "He really thinks a bird like me will help a bug like him," thought Owl, as he remembered all the nasty little pranks he had previously played on insects quite like Beetle. "I'll make quite the jest out of you," muttered Owl to himself. "Too small to walk around a tree? How sad." So, Owl, being an impatient bird, picked up Beetle gently in his beak, and the two flew to the pond where the first challenge was set. "Oh, fish!" called out Owl. "Oh, fish!" A fish bobbled his head up from the water. "Oh, hello, Owl. What can I do for you?" he asked. "I want you to race my friend Beetle to the edge of the pond and back again," replied Owl. And so the two raced, and naturally Beetle struggled to match the speed and natural swimming ability of fish. What little use 6 legs are when in the water. Owl, again, picked up Beetle in his beak delicately, and the two made their way to a cavernous opening in the rock face. "Oh, boar!" called out Owl. "Oh, boar!" Out came a huge, hairy beast with tusks 100 times the size of Beetle. "Oh, hello, Owl," grunted the boar. "How long has it been? What can I do for you?" "I wish for you to battle in my friend Beetle an eating contest. He who eats the most wins," replied Owl, with a great confidence about him after having watched Beetle's lackluster performance against fish. And so the two ate until sundown. There seemed no limit to Boar's gargantuan appetite, with food being shoved into the gaping maw that never seemed to stop munching. Poor Beetle was quite full after having forced a full leaf down his gullet, and so in the eyes of Owl, naturally had lost again. So on they went to the third challenge. Beetle felt like the lowest critter in all the forest, yet on the outside seemed quite undeterred. They came to a clearing in the forest, where grass grew not much taller than Beetle. "Oh, squirrel!" called out Owl. "Oh, squirrel!" A furry head, which to you and me may seem quite small, but to Beetle seemed to block out the moonlight, lifted itself from the one patch of tall grass in the middle of the clearing. "Why, hello there, Owl," replied Squirrel. "What brings you to my patch of earth?" "Squirrel, I wish for you to race my friend Beetle to that tree and back. The quickest critter wins," replied Owl, certain Squirrel would follow today's previous events and best poor Beetle. And so, Squirrel and Beetle sprinted. Squirrel, faster than any bug, insect, or woodland critter Beetle had ever seen, dashed to the tree and back without breaking a sweat. Poor Beetle barely made it the length of a full twig before Squirrel was standing tall and proud of her accomplishment. "Oh no," said Beetle full of sorrow. "I will never be beautiful now. All the other woodlanders are much better at, well, everything than me." "Yes," answered Owl, quite bemused with the results of the challenges. "Beetle, you did not win a single challenge out of 3. Perhaps if you had won 1, or put up a better fight, I would allow my kind nature to decide your punishment. But this is so much more fun." And with that, Owl beat his huge wings, twirling Beetle around in a magical gust of wind. "Red you were, but can never go back. As I have wings and Squirrel has fur, I brand this red Beetle with spots of black," chanted Owl. Beetle fell to the ground, his red shell now littered with spots of black. "A brand of shame for a shameful bug," laughed Owl as he flew away. "Who is that? Yes, who?" echoed the voices of 1,000 bugs and beetles and insects as Beetle made his way into the center of the leafy pile that made the various homes of the multitude of bugs. Out came the bugs and insects to greet the stranger, who was not really a stranger at all. "You are the most amazing Beetle I have ever seen in my life," said one bug, much to the agreement of all the others. "I have never seen such a beautiful pattern on a shell before," cried another, again to the praise and enthusiastic agreement of 1,000 little voices. Beetle looked around him to smiling and agreeable faces, welcoming him for the first time to a home, which had always been his home, but never truly felt like home. And oh, how the ladies swooned over the arrival of such a handsome bug, with his black dots patterning his crimson shell, reflecting the golden light of the rising sun. For all the ladies agreed, Beetle was the most handsome bug of them all, and he became quite the popular fellow with them for the rest of his days. And that, my friends, is how the ladybug got its name.